weeks ago I made a demo about Synth, the guitar synth for iOS. What you've just heard is another synth. Now, one of the reasons I'm demoing this one, the Synth price suddenly went up after I demoed it. It's a fantastic app, and really, if you can spare £20 on an iOS app, you should get that one. Now, the one I've just demoed is called Jam Synth, and it costs £0. Let's take a look. What you heard then just now was the Jam Synth. I've just got my Fender Telecaster feeding a little interface which goes into my iPad, and on the screen you can see the first page. We've got a compressor and all sorts of other controls, including some MIDI. Now, I'm not going to demo that here because I don't have a MIDI interface, but I think I'm going to get one having used this. So hopefully I'll be back in a few days with a demo about the MIDI side. Now, we've got the input control. Now, this is very important because you have pickups of different strengths. And also, what I'm doing is I'm actually using the neck pickup of the guitar because there's a bit more bass, a bit more of the fundamental tone that you get out of your guitar note. Sometimes you can roll the tone off as well as I've done here, which means that any sort of little scratches don't get picked up by the synth. Just experiment at your leisure. I don't find it works so well on the bridge pickup. You have to play deliberately. When you play any sort of guitar synth, it won't respond to really sort of fine touches. You need to be quite brutal with it. But that's okay. We know where we are. We're not playing guitar anymore. We're playing synthesizer. You have a compressor on the input here. Which does enable you to play a bit quieter, but the only trouble with that is that the dynamic range is reduced of your guitar, so you might accidentally trigger something if you're not careful. Now, just before we go on to the synth page, we have a very handy ADSR, attack, decay, sustain and release control, which enables you to actually play. If I take the attack up, for example, I can get some nice sounds like that. Of course, I can play with the decay sound as well. So it just basically lasts a bit longer, and you've got a sustain control as well. Now we have a filter, which is on the bottom left here, in the middle. Now that is basically an input filter for your frequency. So if you do have, it's a bit like rolling the tone control of the guitar off. So you can actually enable it to just pick up the fundamental of that note. So going on to the synth page, which is the next thing, we've got 4 oscillators. That's generous. We've got oscillator 1, 2, 3 and 4 here. Now if I switch off, on the right hand side you can see a standby control. I'm only using at the moment oscillator 1. Now we've got a button marked dynamics. If I switch that off, the filter will remain static, and of course I have control over that. It does work better if I do roll that tone control off. Now we've got the dynamics button will essentially give that filter a bit of a boost according to the volume that you play at. That's really useful. The sensitivity control will essentially increase the amount of filtering that you have, or the amount that it opens. Very, very smooth indeed. When you silence the note, you don't hear any artifacts afterwards. Very impressive indeed. Now we have a detune control here, which allows you to actually flatten the note. It doesn't allow you to sharpen it. For some reason. It's okay, that doesn't matter, because when you add other synths, other oscillators, you can detune to get the sort of chorusy sound. So we have 8 waveforms per oscillator as well. Listen, at the moment you're listening to a square wave. Now the sawtooth, sort of pulse, a double sine. And then some resonant filters. Now, there is no such thing in a digital system as zero latency. That simply doesn't exist. All the processing that takes place, if it's very, very quick and almost zero, it means that it's just very, very powerful. However, if you listen to what I'm playing here, I don't really notice any really significant latency. I mean, if you're recording along with something, perhaps you might need to just push your playing slightly to make it work. But what you can do, if I just go to GarageBand now, you can actually use this as a into app audio. So if I just go to my main page here, I'll just delete that. There we go. Now, if I just play along with the drum machine that I've got here. Now, if I just go back to the main page, you can hear that I've had to play along a little bit. Now, I'm going to actually delete that because I opened GarageBand after I'd initialized the other app. So I'm just going to go into App Audio and Jam Synth. There we go. And now I can go to GarageBand, press record. There we go. There's a little message telling me that it's all connected. And you can hear that the timing is actually fine. Now, my timing, my actual playing wasn't really hugely in time there. The drum machine is a little bit quiet there. That's my excuse. Anyway, I'm just going to turn the Jam Synth down a little bit. You can hear that I was all over the shop at the start, but it gradually settled down. That's totally usable. Totally usable. Remember, we are dealing with an app that cost nothing. Nothing! Now, when I go back into my, just close GarageBand back down there. There we go, just open the Jam Synth back up. Now, we've got an octave button as well. 6 octave range, you know, from +3 all the way down to -3. Masses of range. You do notice a little bit of processing when you do speed it up to octaves. It's more comfortable in the mid-range, but you can add that into your mix as a sort of bit of brilliance, if you will. So if I just take the octave to -1 as I had it, and I'm going to switch on one of the other oscillators at the +3, but I'm just going to take the volume down. It just gives it a little bit of presence. I love it. So I've just detuned that third oscillator just to make that work. Now, if I go to the, well, I'll maybe switch the detune off. So I've got my sound. Now I can go to the effects panel. Now, effects 2, the last page, is the in-app purchases. I'm not going to bother with those for the moment, but as you can hear, there's masses. Now, we've got a delay and a chorus, which are included for free. Frankly, I think that's probably not far off enough. We've also got a low-frequency oscillator here. Now, if I switch that on, I can generate some vibrato with the pitch. And I can either affect the pitch, the filter, or indeed the volume to get a sort of tremolo effect. We've got 5 different waveforms. It's just immense what you can do with this. You have a tap tempo button here, which allows you to set some BPM, which it helpfully tells you on the top left as well. Now, I'm stood next to my shovel here. Now, this will work with anything with a 1/4 inch output. It works also between notes. It will track all the bends. So I ask you, for free, you've got to give it a shot. Now, when you go to Effects 2, it does say that you can buy these things. Rotary Vibe, you can make this a very powerful live synthesizer, or as you can hear, it works pretty well with GarageBand too.